Before SIG became the SIG Sauer that we know today, the same SIG Sauer that has a gun that shoots whenever it's dropped, it actually had a very different mission. 170 years ago, SIG actually started by producing wagons. Now, despite all the recent scandals and the lawsuits that have been going on recently with SIG, they actually have a reputation of building very reliable, robust and safe firearms. To understand this, we need to go back to a time where they didn't advise their users to carry without a round in the chambers. Today, on Dennis at the Range, we're artistically analyzing the SIG Sauer P226. Stick around to find out. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video of Dennis at the Range. Today we're going to be looking at this beautiful West German made SIG Sauer P226. We're going to talk about the story of SIG before it became the SIG Sauer that we know today. And we're going to dive deep into this beautiful firearm. If you like this content, make sure to like and subscribe. And without further ado, let's dive into it. It was in 1853 that Friedrich Payer im Hof, Heinrich Moser and Konrad Neher founded a wagon factory in Switzerland. This wagon factory, and sorry if I'm reading, but these names are just crazy. This wagon factory was called Schweizerische Wagenfabrik, SWF. Then, after winning a competition to create a firearm for the government, the Swiss government, SIG had a change of direction. And it was in 1863 that SIG changed its name to what we know today, Schweizerische Industriegesellschaft, or Swiss Industrial Company. Following World War II and everything that happened, SIG created the P210. It was in this time that SIG got its reputation for being reliable, durable, safe, and very, very well built. Now, as history has shown, the Swiss are a neutral country. They won't ask the question of where the gold comes from, if you know what I mean. This means that when they wanted to export their beautiful, unique firearm designs, they couldn't due to its laws. To sell globally, SIG needed a global partner. And this is where we have JP Sauer & Sohn, or JP Sauer & Sons, I think. This company was actually the oldest firearm manufacturer in all of Germany. And it was in the mid-1970s that SIG partnered with them. It made a lot of sense. They were right across the border, they spoke the same language, and it helped them overcome those export laws restrictions. This partnership created SIG Sauer for JP Sauer. And it was in this partnership that the P2 series was created, where we saw the P228, the 226, and all of the other ones. It was in 1985 that they got their first taste of the American market. They established their headquarters first in Virginia and then ended up moving to New Hampshire. Now this US entity was called SIG Arms, which is what we see right here. The Swiss side eventually became SIG, and then there was the whole other operation with the US and German venture. And it was in 2007 that SIG Arms officially changed its name to what we know today, SIG Sauer Incorporated. Now, we can't talk about the P226 without talking of the XM9 trials. In the mid-80s, the main sidearm of the United States Army, the 1911, was starting to get old. And this is where the XM9 program was created. The US was under pressure to change from the 45 and the 38 special caliber to the 9mm to do the NATO standardization that most Western countries have followed. Their old 1911 stockpiles were really starting to wear out and be old, and the military overall wanted a bit of modernization with a double-action, single-action gun that could hold more rounds. Because, as you know, reloading under stress can be very hard. Ask me how I know. So, the P226 did not exist until the US military asked for it. SIG Sauer at the time took their very famous P220 and modified it to have the requirements of the US Army, more specifically by having a double stack magazine, so a wider frame. Now, out of all the original entries that came, which were Colt, Smith & Wesson, HK, Beretta, and SIG Sauer, the only one that passed all the tests was this one and the Beretta. This was one of the most reliable pistols that was actually tested. It was very rugged, it was bump-proof, it was overall a good pistol. Why did it not win the contract? The main reason for that is that Beretta had a lower cost while having still a very reliable pistol. So this gun did not end up being the official sidearm of the United States. Beretta also had opened a factory and they were going to start manufacturing in the United States while SIG was still making them in Germany. This one is a German one. Now yes, it did lose the contract, but it earned a very, very special reputation. So special though, that even the Navy SEALs were looking at this one. So once the Navy SEALs figured out that they needed a new pistol, they went with the 226 that they changed to the name Mark 25. There was some changes that were done, such as a corrosion resistance finish, because the SEALs are operating in saltwater environments and they don't want their guns to be completely rusted. They have a phosphate coated internal system. They ended up adding a Picatinny rail right here to mount accessories. And they also have the iconic anchor on the side of the slide, which hopefully I'll get a Mark 25 in the channel. but it's the same as this one, just with some smaller things that affect performance for better. This reputation even followed it into Hollywood and video games, because you can play with a P226 in Rainbow Six, for example, or James Bond, he always goes with the 226. Okay, so I put it back in its box to show you what it would look like to unbox. This one was made originally for law enforcement only. It says SIG Arms, it doesn't say SIG Sauer because of the timeline. So let's begin by opening it. So first impressions, you get one, there's another mag here, 2, 3, 4, you get 4 mags. This is a training barrel. I'm sure there was a bit more, but this is a used gun anyway, so it's not gonna have the exact same things. Let's begin with the mags. These are 15 round mags, and they are beautiful. They have the zipper pattern, which is what they call them. You can see here the lines. So these are very rare. And on the other side, we can read JP Sauer and Zone GmbH, which is like the LLC, or what a company would be designated in Germany. They have restricted law enforcement government use only, SIG Arms, Exeter, New Hampshire. So very rare and very nice mags. This, I'll go over it a bit later, but it's just a little barrel to train. You can't shoot any guns with it, so if you want to do like demonstrations with the gun and you want to do it safely, you put this inside, or if you want to ship it, you also put this. Let's begin from top to bottom. We're gonna look at the sights here. These sights are quite old. For today, this is what you would look like aiming it. But these sights are quite old. For the time being, you can't really put a red dot on it, because when it was made, there wasn't really that prevalence of red dots that everyone has today. If we talk about the trigger, which is what the army wanted, they wanted a double action, single action for safety. So I'm gonna take the mag out and show you that the gun is safe. Now it's in double action mode, so I'm just gonna decock it with the decocker. And we see that we have a 12-pound pull. So I'm gonna go show you how it is. So I start pulling and it breaks. 12 pounds, very linear. It's very good, it feels quite good. And now if we go in the single action, so we see there's a bit of take up right here. I get to the wall and it has a crisp 4-pound break. Now if we look at the reset, it's a bit long of a reset, but still quite good. Now, as I was mentioning, this gun has the decocker right here, which is quite positive. Here it's very easy, and then you hit kind of like this wall, you keep lowering, and slowly but surely you decock your gun. This is a slide stop. You'll see on the part where I'm shooting, where it doesn't always lock the slide back if you're applying even a tiny amount of pressure right here. So there you go. We have the magazine release right here, which is a very small button. The grip is quite thick. It holds my hand quite well. I think I talk about that when I'm shooting. Now let's look on the internals. So this gun, just like the M17, you don't need to pull the trigger to disassemble, which it doesn't matter honestly to me, you just gotta be safe. But here we have the slide. Since this is made in Germany, this is a stamped and folded carbon steel. So unlike the modern milled stainless steel slides, this one is made from a sheet of steel that's folded into shape with a separate piece here that's welded. And the frame is made of an aluminum alloy. Here we have the 4.4-inch barrel, which is 112 millimeter. 9mm parabellum. When they were made in West Germany, they were almost exclusively made in 9mm. So here's the barrel. And here we have the recoil spring and the rod, which it's not retained as you would have in a Glock. It's just a regular spring. The spring is coiled, kind of like the buffer springs that the Geisleys have on the AR-15, which makes it quite good. Here on the bottom of the slide, we have some proof marks, but there's an N, which I would guess is the proof house, where they use nitrocellulose powder to proof the gun and show that it actually works and is safe. The letters over here indicate a 2-letter date code. So A is 0 and K is 9. So here, since it's a KJ, Kilo Juliet, we have that K is 9 and Juliet is 8. So this is a 98. This gun was made in 1998. Hence, no red dots, how I was mentioning earlier. Since it was made for the United States, we have SIG Arms Incorporated Exeter, or Exeter, I don't know, New Hampshire. Since this is a German-made one, it doesn't have the Picatinny rails that the SEALs were looking for. It's a rounded frame. Now, what is different about a SIG P226 that's made in West Germany, such as this one, and the one that's made in the United States? There's not a lot. It's mostly that this one is about 34 ounces unloaded and that the American one is 36 to 38 ounces unloaded. It depends. The most important part, as I was saying, is that the slide in this one is the folded steel and in the US is a milled slide. We can also see that there are some grooves right here on the trigger guard, and there are also some grooves on the trigger that were actually quite good when I was shooting it. I'll talk about that later. There's some texture over here. There's the big grips characteristical of the SIG P226, and on the inside we have the big rails over here. So it's a super nice gun. Okay, so now I've put it back together. Now, if we're talking about modern SIGs versus old SIGs, we can see that this one actually has 3 serial numbers. Now, I'm not gonna show them, but there's a serial number on the slide, there's a serial number on the frame, and there's a serial number on the inside part of the barrel over here. So there's 3 serial numbers compared to the SIGs that you would see today that sometimes can only have 1. Okay, let's talk about the training barrel now. You can just take this barrel out, put this barrel in, and now you have a fully inert gun that is not going to fire. This is bright yellow, so you can see that the gun is safe and it's not gonna fire. It's gonna function exactly the same. The trigger is going to be the same. It's just something that is used either for training or for transport, it depends. First shots on the 226. I've shot one once before. It was a long time ago, so let's see. Wow, okay. Trigger. This trigger is super nice. I'm gonna decock it to see how the double action, the long pull works, but wow, it shoots very good. The grip I feel is not as high as my Glock, but that's normal. It has a higher height over bore, but let's see, double action. Okay, wow. Barely any recoil, shoots so well. Oh, flinched. I'm out. Okay, so gun is clear. First impressions, shoots very well. I don't know, it's like soft. Like my 45 is very snappy. This is, I don't even know if I hit all of them, but wow. Okay, so I'm obviously used to shooting Glocks. There's a lot of things changing here. The least important is the grip angle, that doesn't matter. What I like about this thing, it has a very big grip. So I tend to have, well, not huge hands, but my hands are quite big. And here I feel like I can get like a good grip on the gun. So I like that a lot. On some of the mags I shot, there wasn't any slide lock, and that was my bad because, again, this is just training. The slide lock is right where I normally put my thumb when I shoot my Glock. Now I've been trying to change my grip and go thumbs off, but sometimes I didn't, and that's why I didn't get slide lock. Some people complain, some people don't. It doesn't matter, it's a SIG. Get better, train. So yeah, let's put some more shots through it. Oh, yeah, I need to get used to the reset. It has a less positive reset than a Glock. Like, it doesn't push my finger like my Glock would. So I find myself not resetting the gun enough. Again, that is simply training. You need to pull the finger farther away. Nothing that you can't train on. It's a super nice gun. Oh, again, you see? I was just talking about it. I'm empty and I didn't get slide lock because my thumb was riding on it. So it's not the gun, that's totally me. I do have my problems against SIG, but this is not one of them. This is a good one. So I just want to show that it's actually a skill issue, and that the gun, I mean, it almost won the XM9 contract, so we know it's a good gun. Let's see. So thumb is up. I'm gonna go like the old times. See? Slide lock. So it does work. So yeah, this is a great gun. Again, I would need a lot more training to be proficient in this. Train with what you have. Yeah, there's a plane coming, whatever. There is a difference between what I'm used to shooting, which is the Glock, as you know. Just that height over bore is something you gotta get used to, but it's not something that's hard or bad in either way. And I'm used to shooting striker fired, and this is a DASA. So you gotta get used to that long trigger press. Nothing you can't get without training. It's really good. Oh. You see, skill issue. Gotta train more. Ah. I didn't have my thumb on it. It works. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a really fun time shooting this one, disassembling it, showing you guys how it works. It also gave me a new meaning on SIG, because I truly don't like what they have done with their M17 and their M18. I think they really should be held accountable for that. But this has nothing to do with it. This is a super gun. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Dennis, out.